mystery and horror, the air itself is filled with monsters.
Children of the night, what music they make. It's alive! It's alive!
Well, hello, all you monster fiends, and thank you for joining us for another deep dive, factoid-filled episode exploring Hollywood's most famous monsters. I am Sam. I am your host, Sam, and I am joined, as always, by Dan from Bleed and Marvelous. Say hello, Dan.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for a live television first as we attempt to commune with the devil. Hi, yeah, that's me. Hi.
Oh, we're going to communicate with the devil? Really?
Devil's just a fancy word of saying the word Dan, isn't it, really?
And I communicate with you on a weekly basis.
You're welcome.
Maybe not last week. Apologies for that. This was meant to be last week, but as you can see, I'm not dead. As Paul lovingly made out I was on the Sunday episode that I missed. Yeah, I'm alive. I'm here. I was just really, really sick.
Like I said, you didn't have the plague, you had the lurgy.
I'm really glad you clarified that.
Yes, because plague equals the vid, and I'm not having, I'm like, you're not there.
No.
You're over here. So
I'm all good. I'm all good. I'm better. I still do have a Vicks inhaler though, just in case. But no, I'm all good. And we are here to communicate with the devil with Late Night with the Devil. Sure. I will do the disclaimer and we will get on into this episode. Oh, everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from this episode, please come and join us on our socials. You can join us in the comment section where we can have an open discussion. But what we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong. We can all agree to disagree in fandom, so let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behavior out of nerdism.
don't be a dick.
Just don't do it. We say it every week. Just don't do it. And to be fair to you, you don't. No. We've never had an issue yet, but I still feel like we have to say it.
You know
Just in
what? If
case.
it's an issue, I'll revel in it. Just let me out of
I'll take it. I mean, it'll never be as bad as the time I turned around on YouTube and said, I don't get the Halloween movie from 1970s. I don't think it holds up. But well, that was a long time ago.
and
I
then
got
you're hunted down and killed. R.I.P.
Pretty much. Pretty much. The comment section on that one was, it was spicy. So, Late Night with the Devil is the 2023 supernatural horror written and directed and edited by Colin and Cameron Keynes. It stars David Dastmalchian.
Close. Dastmalchian.
We've just spent about a few minutes beforehand trying to say it. Laura Gordon, Ian Bliss, Faisal Bayez, Bazzi, Ingrid Torelli. I'm going to just stop saying names now because it's just getting worse as it's going on.
That's what it hasn't.
It stars a lot of people. You don't know what he sacrificed to get here. We will find out as Monsters of North brings you Late Night with the Devil.
We need some cheesy like break music there, like a theme tune.
Yeah. At the moment, I feel like elevator music would have done really well there, but sometimes I feel like like flashy lights and I know I've changed my light, which I hopefully is coming across as glorious as I feel. I haven't even got my glasses on this week.
I noticed.
You can see my eyes. You can see
You
my
can't
face.
See me, though.
That's true. I can't see. You might be able to see my face, but I can't see anything else. Right. This is a recent, and I mean recent one for us. Have we done a really recent one?
Nosferatu, but to be
that's right. I forget. I want to forget about that one.
It's a two-pronged attack, that one. So it's a then and now. So I say I'd stick it in a 50% category.
stick it anywhere because I don't want to ever talk about it again.
Oh, that film was oversaturated afterwards. It was oversaturated. I'm still seeing posts about it now, and I'm like, please don't. I'm not. No, thank you.
No, I'm done. Just go get in your coffin and fuck off.
Oh.
No, but
Off your trap. Goodbye.
toodaloo. This one is this is fairly this 2023. I'm trying to
May
think what year are we
23.
in?
Yeah, May 23, but it premiered in the UK in 24.
Ah, okay, that makes a lot of sense because they literally have just won a Saturn Award as of yesterday for this movie, and I was like, oh, that's a bit so that makes a lot of sense. So it'll be classed in the 2023-2024 side of the awards.
Yeah, it went
Right.
through a couple of awards. You had to do like film festivals
Mm-hmm.
so it could get picked up. I don't know whether it was so it could get picked up for mass distribution or it was because it just got end because it was technically it's an indie movie because it had a budget of under $1 million.
Wow.
The special visual effects budget itself was only 150 grand, which by today's standards is not even a sneeze. It cost them 150 grand to move it from this side to over here in any normal movie these days. So
Yeah.
they had literally next to no budget, and they ended up making, which ironically, because it only had a very, very short run in the cinemas before AMC picked it up, and basically AMC, if people don't know, owns Shudder.
Oh, I did not know that actually.
Yeah. So basically, before it had a short run in the cinema, and then it was purchased, or it was already owned by AMC, who then put it out through Shudder so that people could actually watch it on the subscription service. So it made 15.5 million in the first. This is just domestically in America because it wasn't showing global, because I don't know how if it was in the cinema in the UK. It might have been. I can't remember.
If it did, it completely passed me by because I just got told Shudder exclusive.
Yeah, I saw it on Shudder. So
so did I.
But apparently the movie made on Sunday, March the 24th, 2024 at the box office in the US a total of £666,666.
How many
Yeah.
sixes?
So 666,666 it made that day.
Wow.
So they were like, "Oh, we're going to publicize the shit out of this because it's done the devil's number, the devil's numbers." So
The devil's duty has been done. Sounded very much like Nick. What the was that? That was terrible. Yeah, I saw it on Shudder. When it first came out, and as I have discussed in length with Dan, I clearly didn't see any of the symbolism in this movie. Didn't even put it together that it would be classed as a found footage movie.
I have thoughts on that, but we'll wait till we get there.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I've watched a few videos today, and it was like, yeah, this would be deemed as a found footage movie, and found footage movie is it? And I was like, I know what found footage movie is, and I would not have put this amongst it. No, but I can kind of see where they're coming from a little bit because it is meant to be a documentary.
Yes, see, now you can't call it a found footage if you're doing flashbacks and you're there in the flashbacks.
Touche.
So
Yeah, you're right.
flashbacks you cannot put in a found footage. Flashbacks make it a fantasy film. Well, not fantasy, not by the traditional terms of fantasy. I don't mean that. I mean
not your Lord of the Rings and you.
No, yeah, exactly. I don't mean that. I mean like you're pulling a fantastical idea out because flashbacks are something that have already happened, but you're seeing them in real time. So
yeah,
you can't put that into something that's a found footage because found footage is about the here and now. So you can't. That's where that's where it came out of this whole found footage thing for me when you'd see the quick flashbacks. If it was consistent from you see the documentary footage at the beginning, like where this is the real footage of that fateful night, blah blah blah. And if you'd have seen that hour and 15, hour and 20, because I think the whole film's about an hour and 35 minutes.
Yeah.
So that first opening is about 5-10 minutes long. So once you get past that, if they did that whole thing in real time, which technically they do,
yeah,
without flashbacks, I'd be like, yep, found footage, no problem, it's found footage. But because that they have the flashbacks every now and again, but I'm not sure, are they cutaways?
I don't
That end bit is not a cutaway. We know the end
know.
bit is,
We're in the side. We're in his mind at that point, aren't we?
I think so, but you know, there's times when you see the interview with his wife, and I'm like, is that a cutaway that they've done to show this was his wife, or is it a flashback? That bit I'm debatable on. I think it might have been a cutaway, but the end is definitely not a cutaway. It's what's going on in his noggin to get to where the conclusion of the film is. So it's like, not found footage.
No, and yeah, because I was like, I feel like if it was found footage, I'd be probably all over this more than what it is. But this is a masterpiece when it comes down to the way that it was shot, the acting in it, the actual story itself. Like I do see this as a masterpiece. Am I using that word too graciously? Given that I did not get the subtext to it.
No, I think it's an incredibly clever film. I think in a world where we're so rinse and repeat and so used to seeing
Yeah.
the same premise, and I'm talking to you, Blumhouse. No, but you know what I mean. We're used to what do they call it? Cookie cutter horror.
Yeah.
That kind of traditional thing, and you do get the odd thing come along that is really different, like the Robert Eggers or the Ari Asters and things like that. But there is something about this film that was so well thought through, like even down to the fact that it's a 1970s late night talk show. It was right in the middle of Satanic Panic. It was right in the middle of when The Exorcist had come out, and there was all the buzz about all that sort of stuff. The way that this whole thing was styled and every mention of everything in there is historically accurate, regardless of whether they've changed the names. It's all really happened. Everything happened, except for obviously the final conclusion. But you know,
we don't know if that's not factual.
But it's so cleverly the devil's in the details, and the details have been really obsessed over in this film. So I remember when the trailer came out for this, if you go back on my TikTok, you'll see me do a side by side, like I think it was like a split screen with the trailer going off or something like that. I can't remember. I was so excited because I thought to myself, do you know what? We haven't seen anything like this. I don't recall a movie.
Nope. No, I agree.
That's similar. I couldn't sit there and go, oh yeah, 100%, that's just like this, which was so refreshing, because it has things where you could compare it to other things, but it doesn't give off one continuous, oh, that's just like this film, you know. So refreshing.
It really was. It was a palate cleanser. It's what we needed. There is, I think when it could be, I think maybe when I first watched it, I got it more. But when obviously it's been a bit of time between, and when we were doing this, when we said we were going to do this, I was so excited because I know there's a lot of little neat, like there's a lot of bit in there in the middle of it that's helps the story along, like the Satanic Panic, because we all know the Satanic Panic sees a massive spiral turn in the 80s and 90s. It actually started in the 70s. So the Satanic Panic, the rise of Anton LaVey, the Warrens even are mentioned in there, and the factual people that are actually used to inspire the characters, that got me more interested. So when it came down to us watching the film and then watching some videos to explain the ending, or look at all this subtext and and I was like, shit, did I miss a whole movie? Because I was so wanting to concentrate more on the little bits. Like, the guy who plays the debunker, does he really look like the person who he's inspired by? What is he mentioning when he's talking? Because he does mention his friends, the Warrens. So yeah, I think I concentrated more on that. So I did get a bit of a shock when I watched them videos and went, oh, okay. Did not see that coming. So yeah, the if we go to factual people who inspired the characters, the first one who comes to sorry, can we just say Michael Ironside narrating, genius.
Yes.
Absolutely genius.
He's got a
Um,
talk show voice, which is ironic, really, because everything you've seen Michael Ironside in, I would never give him the kudos of being a talk show voiceover guy, like they have. And now, the thing about this late night TV show sensation thing that's going off, we don't have that in the UK. We do not have
no,
your Stephen Colbert's, your
even
your Conan's, your Jimmy Carson, your David Letterman's. We don't have those kind of things because, frankly, we are all in bed by 10 when you get to the age when you're supposed to be watching that stuff. People don't care. We have the news at 10. That's depressing. We all watch Family Guy and fall asleep. That is life.
that's my night.
So this is where we go. You get to, we can't be bothered staying up late and watching political satire. I mean, the guys do fantastic jobs, and I catch up with the odd bit on TikTok.
Same.
I'll watch a bit of Stephen Colbert. I'll watch a bit of
I do like a bit of
I
Colbert.
always forget what his name is. That's
Kimmel, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, he needs punching.
Oh, I just need to go off my telly. I used to love Craig Ferguson back in the day.
Yeah.
I thought he was so refreshing because obviously he's one of us, and he goes one of us, gobble gobble, and yeah, it was to have our humor in an American setting because he was hilarious. He was so funny. I think was it Corden who took over from Ferguson? I think
It was.
Yeah, it didn't fit at all. Actually, before we get into what I said I wanted to get into, can we reference the actual show itself,
Yes.
which is called Night Owls?
Yeah.
Now, for you Americans, that's just a really cool name for I don't know if I can speak for Dan on this one, but definitely for me, as a northerner, it is a very old, popular radio show.
Never had it in the South. It is a northern thing.
Yeah.
For us, being a night owl just means you stay up late at night. That is purely, which is stupid because fucking owls are awake at night. So why it's referenced as, oh, night owls? Yeah.
Night owls.
No, owls come out at night.
Look at it practically. Yeah, in the Northeast, we had a radio show called Night Owls, which was hosted by Alan Robson. Now, I have always been a person who has to sleep with noise on, and it starts from when I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house growing up, and my gran our doors were right next to each other, and on a night time she would leave her door open of her bedroom and my door open, and I could hear her radio, which was Night Owls, because she had to do that. She had to go to sleep. And Alan Robson, it was a talk radio show. He used to have Mike the Mouth Elliott on first, and he was like a bit of he was Larry, but he was funny. And then he would have Alan Robson. So this talk radio show, but on Halloween, Alan Robson used to go and to Chillingham Castle, which again, for us Northerners, it's one of our most haunted castles. It's in the cusp of Northumberland. I've been many times before. Binks, will you please get the fuck down? He's gonna knock me cup over again. So yes, he used to go to Chillingham Castle, and I will always remember coming home from a night out. I got the last bus home, had me headphones in. I say headphones, it literally is a Walkman. This is how old I am. And I'm listening to Night Owls as I'm walking home. And this is the episode where he's outside where the big marshy bits are, and his feed cuts out. The radio show just cuts out completely. It was just absolute pandemonium. It was chaos. Because he was then running, and then you could hear his feed coming back and everything. It was great. Night Owls for us is a completely different meaning than what it is here. That show was great. I used to love it, but that's why I have to sleep with stuff on in the nighttime.
I love the whole premise. I mean, I know there was a bit of hoo-ha because a lot of people got the arse over the fact that they used AI imaging for all the, you get the test cards that come in that were like later or coming soon or back in 5, those test cards.
All right, yeah.
If you look hard, and apparently it has been confirmed, it was AI art that was used. So there was a lot of hoo-ha about it. Don't agree with AI art. I've got to say, I'd rather buy somebody's hard-earned stuff any day of the week. But
yeah, same.
It's used. What can you do about it now? Yes, I don't like it.
I
Thank you.
didn't actually know about that.
But it's it's sort of they still managed to get it to fit the aesthetic. So I mean,
Yeah. It's honestly this show this setting or of this late night show is so 70s. It's the color palette is just amazing.
brown,
Even brown,
a maroon.
browny oranges and yeah, and it very and even his suits and and his hair, like it's so 70s. So yeah, I wanted to mention the whole night I was thinking because as a northerner, it holds a different meaning. Um, but the characters. So you've got your main character who is David, can't say his surname, who is Jack Delroy. He's the host. He's the host who has a really dark, sketchy past.
He's in the boys' club. Let's just put it that way.
Would you class it? Now, I was thinking about this earlier. This boys' club, and obviously we get into it when we talk about the film, but is it very much like the Masons, would you say?
I think it's a version of that.
Right.
It's very much a couple of handshakes, talk to
Oh,
the right people.
yeah. Oh, like the Simpsons episode, the we
What does
do.
he call them? The buffalo. What are they? The buffalo in The Simpsons?
Oh, I don't know. I just remember that song, but I only remember them lines. Do do
Yeah,
do do
Homer's
do
in
do
like
do
the
do
Wart
we
Buffalo order
do.
or something. It's like it's really he's got yeah.
The only thing I could put it close to for us is the stonemasons.
Because I literally where years and years ago was down a pub and they had a regular that come in all the time, and he used to come in suited and booted every now and again, and a lot of the people I hung around with used to talk to him because they'd go down there more than I would. I'd go down there
Hmm.
maybe every couple of weeks, and they were like they called him over once and they said, "Oh, why are you all so dressed up?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going to a meeting," and it turns out he was a mason. Um, he'd been long term employed, like self-employed, but he was in the trades. So obviously, if you're a
Mm.
tradesman and
Oh yeah.
he was a generational mason as well. It was passed down, so he joined through his family being part of it. And he did something which you're never supposed to do. He showed us what was in his briefcase, and
Oh, you
yeah,
did a Pulp Fiction.
I got to see the ceremonial aprons they wear, all the textbooks. I didn't read through them because obviously that was free.
How are you alive?
I know. He had his ring on and he had all the information like there was other things in there like other dress things that they can put on for ceremonial purposes depending on what the occasion is. And he had all this stuff and I was just so intrigued and I could have sat there and talked to this guy. He was I want to say back then he must have been in his mid to late 70s. So he'd
So
been
he's
doing it for
dead.
a long time. So he was high in the chapter as well.
Wow.
Which is why I feel like he could get away with showing us and not worry.
Like, yeah, he knows the consequences
Yeah, I
kind of
mean,
thing.
I've always known that the Masons has been a very much a handshake and a you know,
Audio can't see the wink.
no. But yeah, definitely there's definitely some funky
I'd be
shit
really
going
shit me because I would like have to totally overemphasize a.
on there. Yeah, no, I was just like if there was a question that I asked that was too close to home, he'd just smile at me and I'd be like, right, okay. I got
Ah.
that one. I was like, yep, I understand.
Ah. Well, yeah, so there's Jack Delroy, and then the one that really caught my eye and caught my attention is Carmichael Haig.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like this guy. But he did start to do me head in a bit. I was like, Timon, like, read the room.
Mm,
Like, kind of read the room. But I could, if you can, if, especially after now what I've learned about who he's based off,
yeah.
it makes a lot of sense. So this is hold on. I know his name. We've just been talking about him. James Randi. I'm gonna call him Randy. I don't know if I'm saying the surname right, but it's Randi.
The Great Randini, I think, is who he went off at as one point.
Ah,
He was
well,
doing one of his many things
got
incarnate.
yeah. Well, he is a massive debunker. That's probably the best word to use. But he was also he wrote about the paranormal phenomenon skepticism.
Yeah.
Try saying that while you're drunk.
Well, in 2014, he made a movie. It was a self-documentary, an autobiographical graphical documentary called An Honest Liar, and it was on Amazon. I don't know if it's still there, but it was. And basically it shows, and he talks about his life and how he was obsessed with magic all of his life. He even was a magician at one point.
He was, yeah.
And then something clicked in him, which he realized that magic is just lying.
Yeah.
And then he thought, well, what else does that apply to? And then the whole thing with the 70s happened with ghost phenomenon and devils and witches and God. And he started to look into all that, and he became more obsessed with the fact that, is this a big lie? How many people are exploiting it? Is it real? Is it not real? What can you prove? What can you disprove? And then, yeah, basically he lived he lived a sad old life because he didn't come out and publicly until he was 81 years old.
Oh no.
Which to me is sad, because he couldn't just be happy in being himself for
Yeah.
whatever reason that was. Obviously, I don't know, but
Oh, I didn't read that side of him. I got onto the obviously the Uri Geller
yeah,
stuff.
he had a massive history with you.
Massive one. But he was also a frequent guest on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, which, if you've seen this film, is what do you call him? Yeah, his rival. He also famously exposed faith healer Peter Popoff live on telly.
Yep.
And he was a regular with Penn and Teller on Bullshit, which makes so much sense because that is kind of what they do, is what he did, and they was it Bullshit, the show where, or prove me something where they would have acts come up, they would do their, what was it called?
Penn and Teller, Fool Us or
Something, yes, and they would have acts come up, and then they would have to tell them how not that they would have to expose it to everyone, because obviously they appreciate the art of, being a magician, and then they would tell if they got it right, great. If it was like, it was almost like a competition style kind of thing, like a American Idol, or so, do you know what I mean? Like that's kind of setting. And there was one I always remember, and I follow her now on all the socials. She's called Steffi K. She's I followed her originally because of her vintage style. She dresses only in 1940s gear, but she is also a clairvoyant. She's a magician, and she can do tricks where she can make you think that she is. It's like a Darren Brown kind of thing. And she's very good at it because they couldn't get it. They couldn't work her trick out. Because if they can't work it out, she can tell them how it's done. If not, which she doesn't have to. But yeah, that was only time. But yeah, he was on their show, but also the Uri Geller stuff. Yeah,
it's the story, the film An Honest Liar, which I recommend people go and watch if you're interested in that kind of thing. His partner, his long-term partner, that nobody knew was his partner. They always thought they were business associates or some sort of thing.
Friends.
But he tries to fool everybody into him being some sort of like not faith healer, not magician, but like mind reader, like man of mystery kind of thing. And in this, you see them setting that up, like and playing it out, and it's quite interesting to see how they know all the tropes, they know what they're doing, they know how to pick the vulnerable, they lay the groundwork, and so he's proven his points time and time again. And it's a really interesting read, because he also had a massive issue with the Warrens, and I'm glad someone did.
So yeah, he met Uri Geller in the 1970s, and he found him quite charming. He found him, like, the words here are likable, beautiful, affectionate, genuine, forward-going, handsome, everything. That's how he described him. But he also then viewed him as he started to view him more as a con man as well. And they actually ended up going to court. He tried to sue him several times over, Geller tried to sue him loads of times over libel. basically saying you can't say this about me because you're going to cost me a lot of money, kind of thing. And it never actually eventually got to in front of a judge because Geller ended up dropping it because he had other legal issues to go and take care of. So he had a little bit of a spat with Uri Geller.
Uri Geller didn't strike me as any of those things when I met him in Costco in Reading. So I must say it's not something that
Nah, I couldn't
I
get
would
it.
say. We were in
I,
Costco and everybody kept shouting out, "Don't let him near the cutlery," because he was pushing his trolley around Costco. So I was just like,
I could never get away with them. I was like, what's how can bending a spoon or a fork be that fucking interesting? Like, I get it. Ooh. But
it.
like,
I think what it was at the time, it was no one was doing that stuff, right?
mm,
And it was such a bizarre thing, and anyone could pick up their spoon and put it on their TV and get it heated up and not realize that's what you're doing to be able to manipulate it to either make it bend or fall off. And like everybody was trying to do it at school, and that's what I remember. So he had enough of a influence that people were like doing it when he wasn't on TV. So, and Uri Geller was like a joke, like you'd be eating your dinner and someone would bend a fork and go, "Oh, look at me, I'm Uri Geller." Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
yeah, I was too busy trying to concentrate how to put a spoon on the end of my nose.
yeah,
So
there's that.
I wasn't bothered about the whole
There's a
thing.
couple of years between us. Yeah, we were fake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But
So,
they do. The character Carmichael does mention in the movie his friends, the Warrens,
mhm.
who declined an invitation to come and join him because they were going off to do Amityville. I don't want to give the Warrens any much more time than what they need. I'm sure at some point we will possibly do the Conjuring movies, especially with the last one coming out this year. But and we can get into a very deep dive if we feel we need to, which I probably will, because at the moment I'm listening to Last Podcast on the Left's 3-part podcast on the Warrens, and you think the documentary was bad that's on Netflix? Ooh,
True
in
Crime
for a
and
shock.
Cocktails about 2 years ago did an episode on them, and that was the first time I genuinely heard anything bad about them. Not bad, facts. And it was an eye opener for me. So
Yeah,
Vera
yeah.
and Patrick are not the Warrens.
No,
They
no,
are
they're
not
not.
the
No.
Warrens.
And this is what last podcast I try and like beat it into you while you are listening to this. Like you need to separate the fact that what you're watching on these movies, it's not them. This is the sweet side of what they want you to believe that they're like. But as they said, and I do agree with them, I feel like they have made such a brilliant franchise.
Mm.
Like it is, I don't mind them. I watched the first Conjuring the other day. I say I watched. I kind of glazed at it while it was on, well, in my fever dreams. But yeah, I like that. I like to think they're the Warrens, and I'm happy with that because if I have to get into that side of the Warrens, the real side, no, I'm not quite there yet. I need to finish this podcast off first to be like, can I do this?
You'd need a two-parter for that nonsense, I'll tell you that much.
I feel like yeah, but the last one is coming. This is really loud. There we go. This is the year of the franchise.
Something finishing things up, isn't it?
Yeah, where you got Final Destination. Hey,
That
they've got
trailer.
the yeah, yeah. Do you know Septon Pearsons have gone down a bit?
And firstly, no way. Look,
No.
first movie was all about things that could possibly happen. Like
Yeah,
there was a good whack of a percentage that something like that could technically
there was
happen. They were all
probably.
very possible.
Mhm.
A chain that would never be hanging up the way it was hanging up to support a bloody ceiling fan like that, that magically swings down and just catches that septum, considering the chain ring itself that was hanging from it was like this and it was thick and all of a sudden it fits in this tiny little septum
But
ring.
if it does, rip your fucking septum ring out. Rip it out.
It's not. Plus that is it not in the cartilage? It is in the skin underneath when you pierce the septum.
Have you got yours
It's
done?
not going to take the full weight of your own body being hiked up into the sky. You've lost me in the trailer. I am annoyed.
But they've called it bloodlines. Isn't that what the pet cemetery is called?
Yes.
Ah, I thought, you cheeky bastards. So you've got that. You've got The Conjuring. That's another one. Apparently,
Meg.
I know. Yeah, yeah. I didn't mind it, but it was just,
Don't need
easy.
a sequel.
No, it didn't need a sequel. But there was also another one. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Now, hear me out on this one.
Go
I
on.
do have some redeeming to do for I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Jack Black's accent needs so much apologising for.
I'm sorry,
So,
Jack Black's in that movie.
he's in the second one, yeah.
Shut the fuck up, is
He's
he?
got dreadlocks and he's got the worst Jamaican accent you've ever heard in your entire life.
What?
He's the guy who tries to sell them weed the whole time they're there.
Well, fuck me. I have seen that. I just cannot remember that.
So I'm intrigued because somebody has finally managed to get that fucking couple back into acting. Freddie's back out now.
Yeah.
Freddie has his own podcast, right? If anybody wants to know, where he reviews movies, mainly horror films, but he reviews them with his friends. And he doesn't come across as a very likable guy on that podcast. I've got to be honest.
He doesn't. He does a lot because he's been a Star Wars voice actor for a while. And he has a lot to say on that franchise, especially the toxic side of it. And it kind of gets a bit nasty.
Yeah, he doesn't come across very. I think it might just be the fact that he is a nepo baby, Freddie Prinze Jr. His dad, Freddie Prinze, died of an overdose. He was a massive actor. He was around the
Quaaludes.
Yeah, he was around the I Love Lucy time, and he was found. I think he was either shot or of an overdose. It was something.
No, he took Quaaludes. If you've watched Wolf of Wall Street, you'll know what Quaaludes can do to a person. And he proceeded to then shoot himself in the face.
That was it, because I was on the Dearly Death Departed tour thing with Graham Norton's ex.
Scott. Michael. Scott Michael.
Not Michael Scott. That would have been an
That would have been really interesting.
Yeah. Turns into Prison Mike halfway round. But yeah, basically they talk to you about Freddie Prinze and they explain everything that happens with him. So I think he has been to a degree a very sheltered in that respect. But I think Sarah keeps him a bit more grounded because she's not an Epo baby. She wasn't really from the world, and she's now got I was dead against Dexter, the new one. But I have to say, I eat my words, and the new Dexter, I'm really enjoying it.
I've heard good things.
She isn't much in it, but she's in it. And now there's rumors that she is going to go back and do Buffy. I don't know if people have seen that. So
yeah, came out yesterday, didn't it? There's someone's taking it on. The cast is
Chloe's
willing.
on, I think it is. Chloe's on. So
the name sounded familiar. Actually, the face looked familiar.
She's done something recently. She directed a massive thing recently. I know she did, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Well, they ain't going to be in it because, well, Freddie Prinze might, but Sarah Michelle Gellar definitely not, because she did in that franchise. But you've also got 28 years later, Insidious 6. Insidious 6! Saw 11. 6? Saw 11. Black Phone 2. Obviously, Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
I mean, Lillard's the only reason I'd watch that.
Yeah, I watched it.
I am biased, so
I watched it. It was a movie.
It was.
My eyes saw it
in America. Right, we landed. We landed the first day, and we were in the cinema the second day watching it, and I was just like,
"You're just glutton for punishment."
I thought it was a fever dream because I had real bad jet lag, so I was just like,
"The fuck's that?"
So, I'm sat in the zombie mall in Florida watching this, going,
"Oh shit!"
Can everybody else see what I'm seeing? Why is this film?
So yeah, this year is like the year of the franchise. I don't even know how we got into that, but let's go back to the movie. And just quickly, another one, and I don't have a great deal of detail on him. The whole devil community thing that they talk about, and
Anton
whatnot.
LaVey thing.
Anton LaVey. Yeah, he's a character. Um,
He's
he,
the creator of the Church of Satan.
yeah, if you wanna say that, he all he was interested in was sex magic. Like that's it. That's the low and behold of it all.
And
Money,
fame.
fame, sex magic.
Yeah, basically, he was one of these people who he would be great in today's.
Fuck yeah, buddy.
He would have had a cult that would have outnumbered Christianity, I reckon, because of the way that he was so clever to bring in famous people and tie himself to these famous people. Because he was very famous for bringing in Jane Mansfield before she died. She played a massive part in being photographed with him. And nobody's still 100% sure if she was practicing.
No, no, there's no proof. There's just proof that she knew him and they were because there's obviously a lot of photographs. There's actually a few people who are associated with them.
Mm.
Sammy Davis Jr., David Bowie. Um, yeah. So he had famous friends, but yeah, I want to say that he was a religious practitioner, even of the occult style, is really stretching massively. I don't know if we would ever in an episode be able to cover LeVay. If we did, I'll get more information. But what I know of him, he liked to get down and dirty.
Anton LaVey was the I don't know, the daddy of the Church of Satan. Basically, his premise is similar yet not the same as the Satanic Temple. The Satanic Temple believes in an opposite to everything. So me being, I am uh possibly, I don't know what you class me as. I'm either an agnostic atheist or an atheist, but I am a member of the Satanic Temple. We believe in nothing and everything, whereas the Church of Satan believe in Satan as Lord. They pray to Satan. They use Satan to create.
It's just strike to give some fear, to give something, to give a face to. Whereas the Church of Satan, which I do actually have a membership for since 2000 and when did the documentary come out?
Oh, what, Hail Satan?
Yeah,
The Satanic Temple came out for that one 2021, I want to say
there you
maybe.
go. Been a member since 2021. I've got membership. I just the values, it's almost like it's ridiculous to even put it into because it's just normality to me. What they believe in is just my normal beliefs, and it's like I was like, yeah, sign me up for that. Um,
But the Church of Satan basically believe that Satan is responsible for every move that they make. If they want something, they have to ask Satan for it. Satan is a real entity, like people believe that God is a real entity. Um, so the only way that they can ask for things from Satan is by offering sacrifice, and the sacrifice can be anything. He used to, one of his favorite things to sacrifice out on the bay was, because I know a fair bit about him, was goats. But there
what?
were rumors, yeah, he used to sacrifice goats continuously, like to get the blood for the sex blood parties that he used to hold and stuff. And like then there was this whole thing about there was a rumor, and to this day, still a rumor, never proved. So I don't think it was real. And he probably even started this rumor, to be honest, that at some point they sacrificed a baby in one of their rituals.
They didn't.
They did. Let's be honest, we all know that that was bullshit, and he was probably just saying it because he was an egomaniac,
Goats,
and he
man.
was.
Why
Um, if,
goats?
if you want any, if you're ever in Las Vegas and you're really, really intrigued, and you can get past the fact that Zach Bagans owns the museum, go to his museum. He's got a lot of Anton LaVey stuff. He's got a whole room based on Anton LaVey, and he
I
has so much stuff that Anton used to have. So
I would go for morbid curiosity
go.
reasons.
It's
It's
intriguing.
probably more. It's probably more the Jack
The
Kevorkian stuff.
Kevorkian thing, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not that I want to go and
Oh, I
not
love
that.
that. I'm a dark tourist. I will go and watch, go to
Yeah.
for that reason.
I don't know how to explain it to somebody who wouldn't understand it, though. You would get it. I don't even have to give an explanation to you as to why, but it's just, again, it's morbid curiosity. That's a fucking, and that's such a great area, that one. But yeah, I would go. But he really did set the Church of Satan up for a lifetime of them having to prove that they don't worship the devil. What a dick.
Yeah, I mean, he
I can't stand the man. I cannot. I just
no,
can't.
all he was technically a wannabe cult leader, that was also an egomaniac, a megalomaniac. Just think Donald Trump with a shaved head, and you're
And a
probably there.
really fucking gnarly tash. It's just and the whole goat thing. Goat, the goat is my spirit animal. I fucking love them.
He
I
didn't.
said, I said every time I get a goat video come up on TikTok, I instantly send it to Anth just to get on board with where I'm at. And Chris. I
Yeah, I
fucking
mean,
love them.
Anton LaVey wrote the Satanic Bible, so that should give you some ideas. If anybody's ever read it or looked into it or just had the curiosity to study
Me, I
things that
had
are a
to.
bit different.
I don't know why I felt I had to hide it from my parents. Like when I owned my copy, it is now long gone in the bin. Thank you very much. But yeah, I felt like I had to hide it, even though I don't particularly come from a very religious background. Like, yes, my father is Roman Catholic, and my grandmother, when she wanted to, believed that she had a faith. But no, I felt I used to sit in the bottom of my drawer. Like I used to have like clothes around it. Like, oh, you can't say that. Why? I don't know.
They played on that, and they also played on the Manson murders. The whole thing about the cults and the Manson murder they played that into the Satanic Panic thing because obviously Charlie Boy was under
But it was
many hallucinogenics and believed he could see, and he was, and that he is, and he could be, and all that sort of stuff. And with the connotations of Charlie doing the same thing that Anton did, associating himself with some of the really big people, like the guys from the Beach Boys, that
yeah,
not a lot of people know that side of stuff with Charlie, which I find really intriguing because Charlie wanted to be a record singer.
yeah.
He was obsessed with making music, and he moved himself in to. It wasn't Brian Johnson's house, I don't think, but it was one of the Beach
No, no,
Boys'
it is.
house. It was
It was.
Brian.
It wasn't. So Spawn Ranch is where they ended up,
Hmm.
but it was his house. He went. He thought the night of Sharon Tate's murder, he was targeting his house,
Right.
and it wasn't.
No.
It was occupied, obviously, by the Polanskis.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, Spawn Ranch was owned by someone.
I was
Was
a
it
big
him?
movie star. It was a big like movie
Movie
producer.
set, yeah.
But
But
the thing with the Manson murders is that they now pull that in the whole cult thing, the whole satanic panic thing, they
kind
include
of fits
Manson
it.
into that. And it was never something really before, but as time goes on and before Charlie died, he was very much
Yeah.
he liked to talk.
Oh, we love to talk.
So you ever bring it up, new information will come out. He knew he was in there for life. He got nothing to lose or gain from telling you the truth.
Yeah,
He just
I
liked to talk.
hate I hate the argument. Well, he never actually killed anybody. Well, he fucking did.
Did he?
Well, he
Um,
did. He might not have done it. The blood might not be on his hands that night, but he did fucking kill somebody.
no, I've got some murderabilia, and I've actually got Charlie's signature on a postcard in this cabinet over here. Now, I know murderabilia isn't for everybody, but it's one of those things that I just came across and I just was intrigued whether it was real or not. I didn't think it was. It wasn't
Um,
extremely expensive, so I thought, right, I'll take a punt on it because, got
well,
nothing to lose.
I'm
And
not gonna I'm not gonna say who it is, because I don't know. I know her stance on it is changed massively. But someone very close to me owns a John Wayne Gacy painting.
they are worth an absolute fucking fortune, may I say.
But her she was massively into it, but her stance has completely changed. I generally don't think she has it anymore. She may have regifted it, but she bought it.
Mm.
She had it in her possession for a while. Yeah, I don't know why I got nervous about saying that because I know the person who it is will not be listening to this at all.
But yeah,
Um,
it's like this whole serial killer narrative as well that fed into satanic panic, and like parents got so scared about their kids. There's so much about it if you wanted to look and do a deep dive in it. So this movie hit 1977 Halloween,
mhm,
which was a Monday night, which they got accurate on the movie as well. It was a
yes,
Monday night in 1977.
yeah.
Um, they wanted to give the air of like the cult leader thing. So that's why they introduced that whole cult leader cutaway section in the movie.
It makes total sense because, like I say, the Satanic Panic does not start in the 80s and 90s. It's just what you can remember. There's a lot of high profile cases that kind of trigger that off, and it's a very different panic to what it is in the 70s.
Hmm.
They pinpointed in the 80s and 90s it was your music, your video games, your horror. That's like if they're into that, then they're definitely into Satan. Um, the
Yeah.
70s was a bit different. It was a bit more thought out. It wasn't it was a bit more grimmer and a bit deeper than just, oh, you're listening to heavy music and watching bad things. You clearly must worship the devil. Um which I got accused of many times in my past. But yeah, I know. Um Little do they know I am the fucking devil. But yes, so it does the prologue of this movie is almost 5 to 10 minute explanation of Jack Delroy and his life, and it really does paint a magnificent picture of where you are in 1977 because it's not just the Satanic Panic that's obviously prevalent through it. You've also got the Vietnam War. You've got Watergate that's mentioned in there too. So it really does. It's so good at setting the scene.
Hmm.
And it takes its time. Doesn't rush it.
Yeah.
It plans it out perfectly. Um I can't even remember what actually goes on. And oh, that's right, because we talk about Jack Delroy and his rise to the late night shows and how he's always just behind Johnny Carson. How did he think he was gonna beat Johnny Carson?
Well, I think in this fantastical world that they live in, it, it it might have been possible at one point. Like if Johnny dropped the ball, he was there to pick it up, kind of thing. But I mean, they were just trying to show that he was always almost there, but could never quite get there. And I think that's the point with the opening scene when you're with the opening exposition when they're saying, all the black and white bits, the documentary bit where they're going, um, there's so many little cutaways, and if you're not paying attention, you'll miss the biggest one in there, which sets you up for the entire movie without you even knowing about it.
Yeah,
Which is the old boys club.
yeah. The Grove.
Yeah.
The
Which
Grove.
is, you see a very small snippet of him in a white robe, the tall trees, which is
Yeah.
what she says to him, I've seen you among the tall trees, or
Yeah.
something like, we've met among the
Yep.
tall trees, or something like that.
Yeah.
So that
And you
bit goes straight back to the beginning.
and I must have absolutely really not I I must have thought it was something or nothing because I did not pay attention to that part, but it does play a massive it's everything to be honest. It so in the introduction in the prologue it explains how Jack has like had this rise but he's never quite getting past the Johnny Carson's numbers, but also he has this great relationship with his wife Madeline, who she's just as big a star as he is, and they have this wonderful life, and it's painted such a beautiful picture of them. But he's also part, secrets come out, and he's also part of this like mystery club where they meet, and with all these powerful men, and then all of a sudden his wife gets really sick and he has this one episode when she's on it that is his highest rated episode to date, but it still doesn't quite meet Johnny Carson's numbers. And then she dies. And then he comes back, he takes some time off, and then he comes back with this magnificent idea for a Halloween special, and also to bring on his very good friend who has been associated with this girl who has come from a satanic cult. She survived it,
Yep.
and she's been communicating with the devil, and that's his idea. He's gonna have the lot on. It's gonna be a spectacular extravaganza. That's gonna be the main part of the show. But he's gonna have a clairvoyant on. I don't know if he calls himself that, or
Man of
communicate.
Mystique or something,
Yeah,
isn't it?
communicate with the spirits, but he's also going to have a skeptic on as well, who is a magician, and yeah, it's going to be a whole big night.
Yeah, because they base, obviously, if you've missed what we were saying, the first guy is based off of like a Uri Geller type character.
Yeah,
Second guy is
he
James
looks like him.
Randi. Second guy is based off James Randi and Orson Welles.
Mm.
That was
You
the
can
other
te-
inspiration
yeah,
for it. They
you
wanted
can
to give
tell.
him that air of arrogance and
It's grandeur. It's like, and
yeah.
it's arrogant, such a good word. Yeah,
Because he knows he's right, regardless of whatever's happening.
yeah, he's
That's the answer. He's that
he's
confident. He's putting up $500,000
yeah.
in 1977, which is probably the equivalent to about $2 million these
Yeah,
days. And
I knew you'd knew that.
I mean that's just off the top of my head. I'm not saying for sure that's what it is, but we're in the ballpark. But yeah, it's to be that arrogant to offer that kind of money, and there's no way he
Mm.
had that kind of money to offer. Because the way he was begging Jack to get him an in to the old boys club means that
Yeah,
he wasn't good enough to be there in the first place. That's why he wasn't in it. You don't get it kind of strikes me as one of those ones you get an invitation to out of the blue. You don't ask to be a
oh
member.
no, you've
You're not
yeah,
asked to be a member. You will be
peaked
approached to
out.
become a member. And I don't think they thought Mr. Carmichael was worthy, because he kept saying, "Could you just get me in or take me with you or whatever it is to your next meeting or mention my name?" And it was always like, it's very weird because he'll go from being this arrogant shit the minute the cameras come on to being this, "Please let me be in your club," when the
Can
cameras
I
go on.
be your friend?
Yeah, it's he was so dying to be a part of this thing, this club, because it was so exclusive. Little did he know that the club would end up ruining everyone's life. So
Pretty much. Um, it makes someone famous, that's for sure.
Mm.
It's something that Lily says to him later on. You'll definitely be famous after tonight, Jack. She was fantastic, by the way. I really liked her.
That was her
But
first film, that kid.
shut up. Do you know what I loved more than anything was the and then it may look very cheesy. It's the way she comes on,
With the little curtsy in
and
there.
the smile and the
Yeah.
deadpan eyes, like how it's so
They were dead. She did that so well. There was nothing.
nothing there. It was absolutely brilliant the way that she came on, because it helps the transition later on.
It's the bit where she's just literally,
But it makes you feel that they're all that demon, whatever's inside, it's always there.
oh yeah, 100%.
She's not there at all. Ah,
Lily's not in. Lily's
no, Lily's gone home.
So
Wherever.
the doctor, she was under some delusion that she was like in control the whole time, and it was like,
No,
no, love, you've been played for
no.
the whole entire thing. This is
Oh, yeah.
this is
You
this is his end game to get this thing on telly.
Yeah, and it works out perfectly.
Hmm.
Well, the show itself it's like I say, it's so good. The way that they do it from show, because you are part of the show, it's almost like you're part of the audience. And also you've got the cutaway to the black and white where it's behind the scenes. Was the producer part of it? His producer friend. Is he all down? Does he know what's going on?
I don't think he's got a clue. I feel like he's
Right.
just there and he just walks around and takes the credit for everything, but he doesn't do anything. Because if you ask anybody what a producer does, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
He was at the very beginning, in the first, either just before it starts or just in the first break. He says to him, the guys from the network are in the
Yeah.
couple of first front rows. They're here to test the water for going forward, to putting you up to this and doing this, and you really need to impress them and all this sort of stuff. So I know he's like that kind of guy. Just say, put the fear of God into Jack to get him to pull out a good show, which is
Yeah.
why he kept trying to swerve it constantly. But I mean, he was a good talk show host. I give him that. Every time they went off the rails, he tried to bring him back, and then he'd like pull a joke out. I did feel sorry for his little band, the guy that was the band leader, the warm-up guy, the fluffer, whatever you
Yeah.
want to call him.
Yeah.
He didn't have it the nicest, did he? Poor
No,
sod.
he did not at all. Well, the show kicks off with Jack's. Is this Jack's return? Is this his big
Yeah, I
return
think it is his
after?
first
Yeah,
episode back.
this is
Yeah.
his first. Yeah, this is his first episode back after his wife's died, and he's taken time off. And his first guest is Christo,
Mm-hmm.
who is
A terrible clairvoyant.
even worse than the person who he is inspired by, Criswell. I wish I could remember the opening lines from Plan 9 from Outer Space. You know how I read them?
Mhm.
Future plans as such will happen in the future.
Pretty much.
Yeah, Criswell was a terrible medium, psychic, whatever you want to call him, because all of his predictions, he's like, Criswell predicts. He never got them right, ever. So Christo is really showing you the terribleism of what he can do, because he starts saying typical names, like it's almost like a typical routine of what you would get from a psychic medium, and just chucking names out to where it lands with someone. And I always love it when they turn around and go, "Are you claiming that?" Claiming what? Claiming what you've just said? No. But this one guy, this one guy really starts ripping the piss out of him, because he's like, "I'm getting the name Jack. Well, my wife's maiden name is Jack Man. That's it. That's definitely it." And he takes him down a bit of a rabbit hole of bullshit.
Yeah.
To where he eventually pulls back, and he manages to, instead of chucking a name out, he manages to hone in on two people on the first aisle, which is easy for him to get to. And he does what he does best.
Hmm.
Kind of pulls stuff out of them without them even realizing that they're doing it. And he manages to give them a message from their dead relative.
Yeah.
And you can see it happening. And it's very how do you say, like, it's what they do.
Gross.
Yeah, it is. It's awful. But
Um,
then
yeah, I just, well, I was going to just say, there is, I think it's Clinton Baptiste, that every time I see one of these psychics, I don't know if you know the stand-up guy from Phoenix
of
Night.
course I know Clinton Baptiste. I'm
He
getting
just
the word.
nonce. Yeah, it's every time he's back doing stand-up now. So if anybody wants to see Clinton Baptiste, he does a lot of like stand-up comedy shows, and the guy is hilarious. He's basically a fake. He will disagree when I say the word fake, but he is a fake clairvoyant, and he is a comedian, and he's hilarious.
It's when he comes out of the smoke and he just, all right. All right.
There's
He's
in his new stand-up, like he does this thing where he'll go, "And your name is," and she'll say Jackie. He'll go, "Jackie, yes, 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 I knew that." And it's just the way he pulls out the tropes, but it's cleverly done, and
he's so funny. So
that's
funny
how
in
I
Phoenix
see.
Night.
That is how I see.
Yeah.
I've seen Derek Akora,
Me too.
and that was against my will, may I add. But
I saw Psychic Sally at the
oh,
end of last year.
Oh, she makes me infuriated.
I've seen that twice. Why?
That's a question only you have to ask yourself.
I don't think I can give you an answer. I really don't.
I was forced to go to Derek Akora because I asked my sister to come to Darren Brown with me, and Darren Brown's more me, like the debunking whole like thing. And she was like, "Oh, so as long as you come to see Derek Akora," and all I could think was, "Mary loves Dick. Mary loves Dick."
I would like to say I was forced, but it was like the height of most haunted time, and like before he was outed, kind of thing. So it was like, yeah, of course I'm going to go and see Derek Cora. Like, I watch Most Haunted. Why would I not? Psychic Sally, on the other hand, I just can't tell you why. Actually, the first time I really can't. The second time it was for my sister-in-law's birthday. So I went. I paid £20 for the pleasure of sitting in a room to watch her. That's a true story. But what Christo does afterwards, when they're not going to go to commercial break, because they're kind of forced to.
Yeah, he steps in, Jack steps in to sort of wrap up the little
Mm-hmm.
um reading, so to speak. And then he turns around and he starts looking at Jack, and he's like really looking at Jack. And he says something along the lines of something's not right. Something's not right. And he starts getting like a cough and like he's like, do you want some water? He's like, no, no, I'm fine. And you can see he's like he genuinely does have the gift,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't use it. He
Mm-hmm.
just
No. He says the name Minnie,
hmm,
and he mentions a husband without a wife,
mhm.
or a ring wearer without a wife, or something along
Yeah,
those
something
lines.
something like that.
Yeah. Which kind of sets Jack a bit aside, but he doesn't give away anything
No.
as to what that could mean. He just, because like Christo's like suffering at this point, so they do eventually go to break, and he ends up, this is when they're going to introduce the next guest coming on, and it's almost like they're just like bypassing the fact that he is coughing his ring up.
Yeah, he's bad. But they're like, no, it's fine. Let's
He's
just
like,
get a Christo. Let's just get the other guy on the skeptic.
Carmichael,
Yeah.
who can clearly see he's struggling, as Carmichael comes out and does the shittest magic trick. Like, my dad used to do that with his thumb. Like, like, it's the worst.
Mm.
But it shows his arrogance. It shows, who he's meant to be. And he comes on and he gives him a bit of a hard time. And all while that's happening, Christo is pretty much dying
Yep.
next to them. And I think at the next commercial break, before we get Lily on, he goes off somewhere.
Yeah, well, basically, the just before they go to commercial break, Christo walks off set. He's so insulted by Carmichael, he goes to walk off set, and as he starts to walk off, he starts coughing and coughing and coughing, and he pukes up this black sludge all over
Sludge, that's right.
Carmichael, and then he pukes it up all over the camera, and so they go to commercial break, um, and then in that commercial break time, he's been taken off in the ambulance. You've got all these little minions out cleaning the floor. Carmichael's been so arrogant, he's asked somebody to go and get him a new jacket because he wants the
Ugh,
maroon one, not that one. So and off they trot, and they're cleaning the carpet, trying to get it ready for the next scene. It's all like
real
fuck.
time shit.
Yeah, fuck what happened. We've got to keep going. Come on, we've
Yeah,
got.
the show must go on, because in the next one, Dr. June
Mhm.
comes out with Lily, who is the sole survivor of a mass suicide by a Satanic church. Well, is she? Or is she not?
Well, this is the question. This herein lies who is the real devil.
Hmm.
So
Is it the guy who is this? Because there's a lot of theories that the actual devil, not the demon that is inside of Lily, which I cannot.
this.
That's the one. The
Did you
actual
know
devil. We'll go on.
Abraxas has actually been classed by the Catholic Church officially a pagan god, and they've designated him as a demon within the Catholic Church. They've tied him to quite a few different religions, but mostly in all the religions, he's confirmed as one of the most supreme beings amongst all of the deities or demons, or he's like a high ranking. He's Galacticus, and then he has his lesser servant. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah,
like Abraxas is one of the top tiered demons or
yeah,
pagan gods or what in whatever one you choose to follow.
yeah.
Abraxas is up there. So yeah, they've picked a good one, a real one as well. It's not like we've stuck all our initials together to make some nonsense that sounds a bit devilly. We've actually chose a real official
Balak.
demon. Yeah.
Sorry, I generally don't know if Valak's real or not. I'm trying to be facetious.
Word of
Yeah.
the day.
Aha! She knows English. She can't speak it. Um, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, the theory, the devil. The studio audience is actually there's a lot of few of them dressed up because it's Halloween, a lot of
Yeah.
costumes, but there's one sitting in a skeleton suit who doesn't say a goddamn word when Jack tries to communicate with them, like is like a riff thing with the audience at the beginning
Yeah.
of the show. And people have their theories that that is the devil and he's watching and he is sitting paying attention.
But then there's the other theory.
What's the other theory?
I don't know if I should get into it now because we're not quite at the end, but like,
Oh, okay, we'll wait
yeah,
because I know
I'll
where that's
get
going
to
to lead
that.
to.
The one that I'm more inclined to believe,
Okay.
but there's no proof of said theory, but I like the idea of it. So
We'll wait because I know he plays a part at the end as well. So yeah, the next guest is June with Lily, who again, Soul Survivor, Satanic Church, who is June's just come out with a book. How handy. Um,
whatever it's called.
yeah, the it's the whole, and I couldn't put this down. um
Kept singing Slipknot in my head. So
Nice one. So yeah, she comes out and she's very for all she's doing it, she's still very much, I don't want to do this. This is too much for Lily because Lily is a girl who June has been June's got a relationship with. I want to say she's even adopted her the way that they were going on. Like that June is all she has in the world. And she has been communicating with the demon that is living inside of her.
yes, and I feel like Jack, manipulated June through situational relationships to get them on the show, knowing that she was close to Lily.
And he
So
was clearly having an affair with when his wife was sick.
hence
The
the guilt.
time the timeline doesn't match up. It's only a month after his wife dies, and he is meant to have had this deep relationship with her. Yeah, that was going on
Yeah,
before his
it's
wife died.
there's a lot of things that when you go back and watch it second, third, fourth time, you pick up on that you'd never know before. So
Probably gonna be the third time for me when I watch it now. I'll be like, oh shit, yeah. So yeah, Lily dubs her demon as Mr. Wriggles
yeah,
because he
and that was
wriggles.
a nod to Captain Howdy.
I don't know if anyone can see my hoodie. I don't know where this is cropped off, but I do have an Exorcist hoodie
You
on.
do. I can see that. I can't. I don't know when Paul's had his way with the.
No, I don't know how far it's cropped down. You might just be able to see this, and it makes absolutely no sense. So,
Well,
but
a
yeah.
Peter Pan hoodie. Yeah. Fly, Wendy,
Oh
fly.
my God, yeah. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, time correct. Peter Pan is fucking scary.
That's true, yeah. Tinkerbell was a nightmare. But yes, so Mr. Wriggles is named after Captain, well, not named after, but you know, it's inspired by Captain Howdy. And oh, what happens now? Oh, yes, that's right. So during the next commercial break, before they're going to do the talk with the devil,
Yeah.
I wish that it's such a shame they didn't call the devil by the actual demon name because it's like the two separate entities. But never mind. That's me just being
Yeah.
nitpicky. The crew find out that Crystal actually died,
Hmm.
hemorrhaged in the ambulance. Oh
Yeah.
well, bye bye, Crystal. It does play a part later on. It's not, it is quite significant. So we come back to June about to do her conjuring with the devil. And holy shit, did I fucking love this sequence.
Well, because a lot of it was Carmichael kept pushing and pushing and pushing, trying to disprove her and make her look like a fraud, basically. And she was like, I'm not a fraud. So Jack then comes up with an idea, which he's been waiting for
Yeah.
the entire thing, because I don't think he necessarily put it to June that he wanted this to happen, but you knew that he wanted it to happen regardless. So that's hence why he had Carmichael on to push June to push June,
Yeah.
trying to prove that what she's saying is correct. And with Lily there, Lily was like, yeah, no, it's fine, we can do it. And you're like, yeah, all right, let the demon out, go on then.
Yeah.
Great idea.
It's so good. The transition in the face is just magnificent. The cutting of the face is very
Hmm.
Exorcist. Um, I love it, but it's the stuff that Lily says And you are right, it was that she met Jack under the tall trees. He tell the demon reveals that Jack and June are in a relationship. Um,
Jack and
um,
you fucking up a tree, or whatever the words were. Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
something like that.
Kissing.
It
Oh,
was,
I'm not going to spell the other one.
yeah, no, it was something like that. She was basically setting them up, and then she outed them on the demon outed them on telly.
Yeah. But June manages to bring her around, and it's the transition back from Demon to Lily, and it's so good at the possession side. Like it really has that nailed down perfectly.
It was something I noticed. She went from perfectly washed, beautiful hair
Yeah.
to greasy, disgusting hair to back to really nice, beautiful hair again. And it was just like, that's such a stupid thing to notice.
With
But
such
they're trying to show
detail.
you the unclean and the filth of the demon. And I
Hmm.
thought that's something that is a little detail that I noticed. So it
Kind
was
of
worth
goes a
doing.
long way. Yeah,
Yeah.
it goes a long way. Tiny little things like that. And it is very for all like, the whole Mr. Wriggles thing and being associated, close to The Exorcist. The possession side of it as well is very much like Regan's. It's the complete manifestation of the face, like changing completely. I loved it. I loved that scene so much. But when she comes back round, Carmichael, being the dick that he is like, well, if you can do it, I can do it. Question: did he actually hypnotize the audience?
My theory is no, and I will tell you why later.
Okay, that's fine. We'll save that. We'll put a pin in that for now. So yes, he takes Gus, who is the fluffer. I like that word.
Yeah.
And he hypnotizes him, and I fucking hate this bit so much.
Yeah.
He hypnotizes him on camera to make it that worms are pouring out of him. But it's not just him who sees it, it's the studio audience. Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
Um, and when he then he brings them back round and everything's all right, but it's pretty fucking graphic, like these worms coming out of the
He
side of his
rips his
neck.
stomach open and they're pouring out his
It's
stomach.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, really alien style. Like it's brutal. But then you're back in the room and he is completely and utterly fine. This is how I thought this bit was really good, is where, well, the camera doesn't lie. So Lily's like, well, if the camera doesn't lie, then go on back and watch my
Yeah.
bit, because then there's no trick of the eye there. Because you see, it shows you back what actually Gus was experiencing was absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
When you watch Lily's back, that's not the case. What you saw originally is what you see again.
Yeah.
And is this where Jack makes his admission that he knows the name Minnie, and he knew what the husband without a wife
I
meant
think
thing
so,
mentioned?
because Carmichael starts saying to him, "Oh, don't be silly. He did his homework. Blah blah blah." He's like putting him down, doesn't he? Like,
Mm-hmm. And he's
yeah,
like, well, and Minnie was the nickname for his wife, and the man who's married without her is him, and maybe there is something to all of this. And the best part about it now that I know is how good of an actor he is, because he knows exactly what's going on.
Mm. The one
So
thing
yeah.
people don't give David Dastmalchian enough credit for is he's the guy that's been in everything
Hmm.
since about he started his proper movie acting career about 22, 23 years ago. And he has been in so much when you go back and look at his movie credits. They're only bit parts in the majority of stuff, but then you've got like Last Voyager of the Demeter, which was about the
Mm.
transportation of Dracula. He has been in many, many other films.
James Gunn's Suicide Squad. He was
Mm.
fucking fantastic in it.
He has done so many movies. It's insane what he pops up in. So for him to be given, and one thing I will say about him, he also writes for Fangoria. He does,
Yes, he's a huge part of Fangoria,
yeah.
isn't he?
He also did Horror's Greatest, the new
Yes.
TV show. He's got a lot. The man is a horror encyclopedia. He loves it like it's his baby. So when they approached him for this part, they knew that they wanted him. There was no two ways about it. It wasn't like, oh, we were thinking about so and so and he just happened to be the next choice. They wrote it and then they saw him in something, and I can't remember which movie it was because I didn't write it down, but they saw him in something, or he was doing a sketch or something, and they went, him. They read
Yeah.
one of his Fangoria articles and they were like really intrigued, and then it like went on to be the fact that Late Night with the Devil was originally purchased or promised to Fangoria's movie company that was started to be an up and comer, but
Okay.
that got dissolved because there was a lot of scandal to do with the people that were running it. I can't remember what the scandal was, but it wasn't great. So that got dissolved, so it got not necessarily dropped, but they had to find a new distributor, which is hence why they ended up with AMC/Shudder
I'm
in the end.
so glad it went. I'm so glad we get to see this. Like I
Yeah.
really am. When they are watching back the footage of the possession, that's when Jack notices his wife standing behind him.
Mhm.
The ghost of his wife is behind him. But Carmichael still accuses everyone of orchestrating the events.
Everybody's in on
And
it's
yeah, and this is where the shit goes down. Because Lily becomes possessed again and splits open.
a head.
Actually, she kills Gus, June, Carmichael, while her head is glowing. Like lava is spilling out of it.
It was the thing that makes me laugh. The scene where she kills Gus is really unexpected because it happens so quickly. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, it comes out
He's
of
gone.
nowhere, and she literally turns his head round and he dies. And then
Sad. Who
I
goes?
can't remember how June gets like hung by her own necklace, doesn't she? She has her levitating, but being hung by her own necklace, and then Carmichael gets melted in like Ark of the Covenant,
Yeah.
Indiana Jones style. He gets melted, but it's the way he holds up the check, and he's like he's trying to give him the check to not kill him, and I'm like,
Take
do
the
you think
money.
do you think he gives a fuck about
The
$500,000?
demon.
I think he's a bit beyond that now, you know.
Devil don't want your money. Don't need your money. But this is when Jack goes into his fever dream.
Mm,
And this is where we are kind of where Dan mentioned earlier, we're not in found footage land anymore.
no, the found footage stops pretty much at the very end, but there's this sequence here that just does not apply to found footage at all.
Yeah. So it reveals in this time, and I'm gonna read what I have in front of us to make, because obviously a lot of things got lost on me the second time watching this. So just to make sure it doesn't get lost on you, I'll read from my actual notes. It reveals more. So basically, the reveal here is that he does actually have a connection to the demon possessing Lily. He encountered it during the ceremony at the Grove, where he made a pact with the devil by sacrificing the soul of his wife, Dick, in exchange for fame and TV success of Night Owls. Thus, he was incredibly responsible for Madeline's cancer. Madeline's ghost begs Jack to put her out of her misery as the cancer is causing pain, using the ritual Atham? I should know this word. Athame. Atham? A ceremonial dagger. Let's just go with that. Um, he ends up stabbing his wife, which in actual fact, in reality, is him stabbing Lily.
Mm-hmm.
And the scene suddenly shifts to a now empty studio. Horrified, Jack realizes that he stabbed Lily on live television and stands over the bodies of the dead guests as police sirens approach in the distance. So that essentially is the end of the movie as according to my notes. But there's a little bit more, isn't there? Not a little bit more, but there is a bit more explanation as to Crisco. And what he was experiencing was lung cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Was the end of lung cancer. He had what's the word I'm looking for? They kind of had all especially when he started coughing,
Yeah.
because it was something that was said earlier on. Never smoked a day in our life, but managed to get lung cancer.
Yeah.
Now that isn't actually uncommon. That
Mm-hmm.
can actually happen, but it's the point that they made as to this is so rare, this shouldn't be happening, this is so unfair, and it's all because of him.
Yeah. So, my theory is that whilst Lily is Abraxas, Lily is possessed by the demon Abraxas.
Mm-hmm.
Jack is the devil. My theory is Jack is the devil, but he doesn't know he's the devil. I think he went as Jack Delroy. He went to the tall trees, did his sacrifice of his wife's soul. The devil stepped into his body, and he didn't necessarily take over, but he's sitting in the background, letting it all play out. And he was the one, like I say, devil's in the details. And the details were that all he needed to do was to get Lily on the television to be able to this series of events to happen. So my theory is that he was the devil all along, and then at the end, when he stood there, the devil's left him because he's failed to do what he need. Well, he hasn't. He's got exactly what he wanted, but just not how he wanted it. And that's the thing people forget. In witchcraft or in certain things, there is the law of three, the rule of three. You give it, you get it back 3 times as bad, right? You give something out, you get it back in 3. That's the loose theory of it.
No, you're absolutely right. It's Wicca, because people who there's a fine difference between people who study or follow the religion that is Wicca, because it is a religion, and witchcraft is more spiritual. It's more crystals and whatnot, and the shit that I'm into. But the Wicca side is the rule of 3, which is something I've never been able to abide by. But yeah.
The reason why I bring it up is because he asked for success. He asked to be Jimmy Carson in the ratings. He asked to put his show on the map. That's what he wanted: ultimate fame and fortune and glory, right? He just didn't specify to the devil how he wanted that. Yeah. So the devil went, yeah, of course, I'll give you what you want. You just need to do this special. We'll get you on the TV and we'll do this special. You bring this girl out and I can guarantee it will put you up there. But he didn't tell him what would happen, which was everybody would end up dead, and he'd stab the child live on TV and end up going to prison, because he has now done what he agreed to do, which was to get the ratings up. He guided him to kill Lily, and then he left the building.
In a very weird way. It is Manson-esque.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people that have alluded this to be tied back to it, and I think it's a fantastic concept, and I think that I think that just that little bit of the delusional side of it we didn't need to see, although I know they needed it for exposition to show the fact that he was going to kill Lily. It was like a big moment, but at the end of the day, had it have stayed found footage, I think it would have been just that little bit better for me.
Oh, okay. I thought it might have just been a bit lost if we didn't have that.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that, but what I mean is, like, you have to make it found footage. You have to keep it found footage. If your entire premise of the film is technically a documentary on footage that was found of that night, you can't have a flashback. So
yeah, you're right.
That's just...
No, you're absolutely right.
Or not a flashback, a delusion.
A delusion, yeah.
Yeah.
I think fantasy was such a good way of looking at it, because it is kind of like fantastical, but it's like, because it's in his head. There is stuff playing out in real time, because then obviously he stabs Lily, but we are seeing what's going on.
Yeah. Which, if it was found footage, we'd be watching him kill her in real time. Whereas because it goes into delusion, you're seeing what he's seeing and not seeing what is actually happening, which would make me think that the only way that would be part of the found footage would be if he was the devil, because he could manipulate what you are seeing. Hence why you don't see her killing her. You see what he wants you to see, and as it's in front of the TV, he can manipulate what you see because he's the devil.
Oh my God, I do like that. I've just found some extra notes. Just appeared out of nowhere. Jack's wife can be seen actually many times throughout the film.
Yeah.
I am going to have to go back and watch this again.
They're only like, they splice them in. They're like, when you watch Fight Club and he explains, Tyler Durden explains that bit where he inserts the one frame. It's very much like that. It's the one frame.
Okay. Well, at the end of the prologue, explaining Jack Delroy's backstory, you can see at around 8 minutes in a TV monitor behind Jack when he's leaning on the doorstep. At 1918, when the psychic is talking to the mother and her child, she appears as a ghostly image near Jack after the audio glitch. So yeah. Early on in the film, at around 24 minutes, in a mirror backstage, just as the crew is about to go back on the air, and again in Carmichael's pocket watch as she sits on the table on the set. When he brings his pocket watch up and you can see kind of a bit of reflection. I can't see her, but I know what that part is. She briefly appears at around 1 hour 20 seconds in the static on the TV monitor backstage when Gus informs Carmichael of Christo's death. And she also appears around 1 hour 17 on the stage in one quick shot after Jack asks the producer to step through the playback frame by frame, standing behind him with her hand on her shoulder, and 1 minute later, also a quick shot just after the lights turn off. Never noticed a fucking thing. But this is from the same person who, when I've seen House on Haunted Hill,
Mm.
or The Haunting of Hill House, Mike Flanagan's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seen that a million times, still can't see all the fucking ghosts. Still can't. And the last bit of information I have, which oh shit, no, I actually have more. Oh no, that's nothing. Is another inspiration. This is the inspiration from this is quite like it's a lot, but the one that made me go, oh, okay, was that the basis of the movie plot actually comes from the 1992 mockumentary Ghost Watch.
Yes.
Which was
Ghostwatch is probably one of the cleverest things the BBC have ever done.
And that is saying something. It is
Um,
also the episode that nearly got us taken off YouTube because we did a watch along because I'd never seen it before, and the BBC shut us down. They let us have 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I, on the other hand, managed to grab a screen thingy of me screaming the house down. Like literally, like I do this massive scream, all because Craig Charles jumped out of a cupboard. So yeah, it is the cleverest. I didn't actually see it when it came out. My parents took me to the cinema.
oh, I wasn't allowed to watch it. I was 12 when it came out. I wasn't allowed to watch it.
I think we went to see Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, piece of news for you and Anth. You'll be pleased to know that David is going to be playing Mr. 3 in the One Piece TV show.
Shut
Live
up!
action, 'cause I know how much Anth loves One Piece. And I'm sure it's Mr. 3. I might be wrong, but yeah, he's got a part in the live action season 2. So
It does make me smile, big, big, happy smiles when I see that he's being cast in something because the world needs to see more of him. And it was really the turning point for me was Suicide Squad. He stole that whole film, and you had the likes of Cena as Peacemaker. The first time we're seeing Peacemaker, Idris Elba. You might have an opinion on him, but he's still a hell of an actor. More people. I just can't remember off the top of my head. Margot Robbie. Like, there's a list of people, and he stole every scene that was in there. And he's a little goth kid and all. Did you see what he wore for the Saturn Awards? He looks spectacular. His hair is just like this jet black hair and it's just spiked up everywhere. And he's got a skeleton jumper on and dark makeup on his eyes. And he just looks fucking amazing. I'm like, oh, we would be good friends. I like you. I I've getting more out of this watching YouTube videos than I did watching the film, which is really bad on my part.
no, it's not, because sometimes some movies you need to multiply view them to get to a lot of this stuff. Is that I didn't notice half of this stuff on the first watch. I've seen this film 3 times. I still
Yeah.
haven't seen everything, like every one of his wife's appearances. I didn't know there was that many. So it's
I have to be spoon fed it. Like literally. Because again, I feel like when on the second time round, I just wanted to make sure like was the little bits I could pick up that we could talk about. Because the film isn't exactly the longest and the plot isn't exactly the longest. I didn't realize there was this like whole other thing that I'd completely missed. Completely and utterly missed. But I did love doing Late Night with the Devil.
Hmm.
Because there's so many things that you can go down rabbit holes with it. Like you can go down the Anton LaVey side of it, the Manson side of it. You can even go down the political side of Watergate and the Vietnam War. That's all like kind of mixed amongst this era. It was fun. Did you
Yeah.
enjoy it?
I did, and I do have my tedious link.
Wow. Okay. What's this segment called again?
Dan's tedious link because I can't think of anything else.
Dun,
I'll
da,
leave it up to the people.
da.
If the people want to change it and they've got an idea, please let me know.
Comments. Leave it in the comments. Oh, cracking the nails. Cracking the
Are
nails.
we
Cracking
ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Right. David Dastmalchian was the polka dot man in the Suicide Squad.
Mhm.
The Suicide Squad was directed by James Gunn.
Yeah.
James Gunn also directed the 2002 movie Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
Shaggy was played by Matthew Lillard, both in the films and in the cartoons.
Okay.
The cartoons had a host of cameo appearances, including one from the original Uncle Fester from the TV show Addams Family, aka Jackie Coogan.
Yeah.
Jackie Coogan is the grandfather of Keith Coogan. Keith Coogan played Brad in Adventures in Babysitting. Thank you. Good night.
You did it.
And there's a shorter one. The shorter one is really boring, so I didn't want to do it. David Dastmalchian and Keith Coogan were both in Jay and Silent Bob reboot. So that was just a very easy one, but I wasn't going to go there because that was a cop out in my opinion. So
Which is another Kevin Smith movie. Way. You did it.
I did it. I did. I told you. I'm really loving doing this.
Yeah.
Obviously, if this gets a bit old and boring, I will choose another film to link it to. But at the moment, I'm really enjoying this. I know.
No,
Click.
because it's one, it's you. That Adventures in Babysitting is you. If people know Dan, then they know that. Also, it's so far out there. It's
Yeah.
not like you're trying to link this to the like something more modern or anything like that, or
Well,
even
this is
Kevin
the thing.
Bacon.
Well, yeah, 6 degrees of. I know it's not horror. I know it's not a monster,
That's
but
okay.
I'm trying, like, I love this connecting a horror film to something so twee and
Mhm.
80s and cheesy. It just seems so like it, I will either connect them to Adventures in Babysitting or Chris Columbus, but Chris Columbus actually directed Adventures in Babysitting, so they both tie in.
It'll always just connect. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh no, I love it. Keep going. Keep going. I don't know how the fuck
Oh,
you're
I'm
gonna do
gonna,
it next week.
I'm gonna give it a good go. This is something I'm gonna work on because I know I can do it, but I don't want it to get like exceptionally long, so I'm gonna try and keep it under eight connections if I can.
I would try and see if you because next week's gonna be a doozy for you.
I'll get there.
Well, next week we're going back. We're going back into the land of 1932. We're doing something a bit different. It's not a Universal horror movie. But it stars Universal horror stars.
Darling.
No. We're doing White Zombie. Not to be mistaken with Rob Zombie's band. Fuck no. We're doing the Bela Lugosi.
And there's no Dracula in this one.
No, hell no. This is a movie of Bela's we can talk about, but it doesn't have fucking Dracula in it. So don't. I'm so happy. I love this movie. You know me. I love a good old black and white movie. So yeah, I am very excited for us to go back. We haven't been in the 30s for a while. Can't even remember the last time we were there.
We were in the 20s for Nosferatu, but I mean, to be honest with you,
Gosh.
Sammy's blanked that whole episode out of her mind.
Honestly, it's just erased. Everything's erased. Do you know what? I was really looking forward to it until I saw it. And I'm not referring to the 1921 at all, because I found there was a lot of good I found out of that one. It's do you know what I can't get around? 19, 20-year-old me would fucking love it.
Mm.
The 41-year-old me is like, oh man, we can make it stop. Just make it end. Why won't it end?
Not for 3,500 hours if you were in the cinema watching it. Yeah.
And I fucking was. I nearly fell asleep. I've only ever done that twice. That time and Empire Strikes Back. I went for like the 40th anniversary because it was like my 40th birthday, 40th anniversary of that, and I was like, yay! And there was a point where I was like, do you know what? You could go to sleep now because you know what's going to happen, and you can just wake up for the end. And I kind of did drift off a bit. Never done that, but ever. It's a cinema. How can you fall asleep in a cinema? But I did.
I did that in two films that I can remember. One was Sicario 2. And then yeah, I know. We went to the Everyman Theatre in Canary Wharf to watch it with Leslie and Dave, and they bring you your drinks and foods, and I'd had about 2 or 3 old fashions on an empty stomach, and
Oh,
we were
damn.
watching it. I wasn't drunk, but
No.
just comfy because they got sofas,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, nodding dogs.
I was gone. And then the second time was Kingdom of the War for the Planet of the World of the Apes that came out recently. That's now on Disney. I fell
That's the
asleep in that
title.
in the cinema because
You love Planet of the Apes.
this one was hard going for me. You take Caesar out of it. I'm biased. I found it a little too much with Watcher, the
Oh,
Witcher.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cavill?
No, yeah, the
No.
Witcher. Why do I keep calling it Watcher? Jesus, Buffy. That's because it's in there.
Oh, the Watcher. Right, got you.
No, in The Witcher, you had the girl, and I've forgotten her name, but the young girl that's in The Witcher is the girl that's in
Oh,
Planet of the
Cersei?
Apes,
So,
something
something
like
like that? Sorry.
that.
Sorry, Witcher fans.
Yeah, so my brain is thinking Watcher because I'm thinking of Buffy because I've been talking about Buffy, so that's in my brain. So that's why I keep saying Watcher, not Witcher.
Right.
But yeah,
That makes that makes more sense. Yeah. So that's been Late Night with the Devil. Don't know why I want to do it in a southern accent. Like not your
she
southern
the devil.
accent.
She the devil.
The
Just
devil.
the Water Boy. That's what that reminds me of.
I love it.
Kathy Bates screaming at Adam Sandler. That girl be the devil.
Have you seen Kathy Bates recently?
She's lost so much weight.
She looks fucking amazing. I mean, she always looked amazing, but she looks fucking incredible. Yeah, so this has been Late Night with the Devil. Next week is White Zombie. I will tell people in the Discord if you want to watch it beforehand where you can find it, because I generally don't know at this point if it's on YouTube or not.
Many
I'll tell you.
places, I'm sure. You just got to look for it.
I have a very handy app that's on my telly, which is not an illegal site. It's actually a genuine one, and it holds a lot of movies from the 30s and the 40s, and that is one of them. So I have somewhere to watch it. I mean, I have to watch it because we're doing this, but yeah, I'll tell people where you can go and watch if you want to watch ahead of the episode. But this episode will drop on Monday morning on the Nerdy Up North YouTube channel. The audio for this episode will drop after 6 o'clock on Monday. So not only are you getting visual, you are getting audio all on the same day. But for the audio, you need to search Monsters Up North, not Nerdy Up North. Otherwise, you'll not find us. You'll actually find the Nerdy Up North podcast. And I am on that, but come and find the Monsters Up North one. We're talking devils. Yeah. What else, Dan? The links for this, I'm dying to see your nails actually. The links for Bleeding Marvelous, Monsters Up North, Nerdy Up North are where, Dan? Oh, look at you.
That be the
They're crossed.
Jeebus, a Jeebus on a cross, and
You've
then the
got
Virgin Mary, and then the more crosses, and then another Virgin Mary. So the demons be gone.
You got Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow. They're
I'll tell you
nice.
why.
That's very different for you.
Well, I'll tell you why. Rob is set up his own little business. So if anybody, shameless plug here. So if anybody wants to have any Trench Crusade miniatures printed, if you go over to eBay and look for the great unpainted one, he's selling miniatures, and you can have a full set of whatever from the Trench Crusade. And if you look into that, it is amazing. It's a World War One tabletop game, and the prints are absolutely insane. But he's selling these little charms as part of the
Right.
to be able to like manipulate.
Makes more sense now.
Yeah, because you've got like plague locusts, you've got the Lord of Tumors. It's as gross as it sounds. It's
He's just been
fantastic.
telling us that it's like absolutely disgusting, but it is beautiful.
But Dale charms, you can buy these to adorn your wonderful things. So
Oh.
hence why this
Well,
is modelling.
we will make sure that the link actually for Rob's, it's just eBay that you need to go to.
Yeah, he's selling everything on eBay, the great unpainted one.
We will make sure that the link is in the description down below. Dan will also be posting links on Bleeding Marvelous and Nerdy Up North. This has been Late Night with the Devil, and next week is White Zombie, and I don't know if we cover. Is that it? Well, there's nothing else left to say. Say goodbye, Dan.
Take it back, Brad. Take back what you said about Thor.
Stay spooky, everyone. Bye.